For 8 years, I was the perfect stepmother. I packed their lunches, cheered at their soccer games, and wiped away their tears. I loved them as if I had carried them myself. When my husband, David, told me their biological mother had abandoned them, I stepped up. I gave them my heart, my time, and most of my salary. Then came the middle school science project. A simple DNA ancestry kit. It was supposed to be a fun weekend activity. Instead, it tore my world apart. Because the results didn't just show that I wasn't their mother, they proved David wasn't their father either. My name is Elena. I'm an architect. I design structures that are meant to last for centuries. Solid foundations, reinforced steel, unbreakable glass. I thought my marriage was built the same way. I met David when I was 30. He was a struggling freelance photographer, a widower with 3 beautiful children, twins, Leo and Mia, then 4, and little Toby, who was only 2. He told me a tragic story about how their mother had walked out on them for a life of parties and had eventually passed away in a car accident overseas. He had no money, no stability, but he had so much love for those kids. I fell for it. All of it. Within a year, we were married. David retired from his struggling career to be a stay-at-home dad while I worked 60-hour weeks to support us. I paid for the house, the private schools, the braces, and the family vacations. I didn't mind. I loved those kids. I was the one who stayed up with them when they had fevers. I was the one who taught them to ride bikes. David was just there. The DNA kits were Leah's idea. He wanted to know about his heritage from his mother's side. David was strangely against it, but I told him he was just being overprotective. When the results arrived in my email, David was out grocery shopping. I opened Leo's profile first. 0% match with David's surname history. 0% match with David's ethnic background. I thought it was a mistake. I opened Mia's. Same thing. Then Toby's. None of them were related to him. Not even a little bit. My first instinct was to call him, to scream, to ask who these children actually were. But then I remembered my training as an architect. If a foundation is rotten, you don't just kick it, you study the blueprint to see how deep the rock goes. I didn't say a word when he came home. I made dinner. I helped with homework. And that night, while he slept, I went into his office, the small room I paid for that he kept locked. Inside a locked drawer, I found a folder. Inside weren't death certificates or marriage licenses. They were legal documents from a trust fund. A very large trust fund. The truth was more disgusting than I could have imagined. David wasn't a widower. He wasn't even a father. He was a distant cousin of the children's real father, a man named Thomas Sterling, a tech billionaire who had died in a private jet crash 9 years ago. The children's biological mother was alive. Her name was Clara. She was a recovering addict who David had convinced to sign over guardianship to him in exchange for a monthly allowance from the trust. David was the legal guardian of the Sterling heirs. And because they were minors, he had full control over their monthly stipends. But here was the kicker. The trust only paid for the children's basic needs. David wanted more. So he found me. A successful, lonely architect with a big heart. He used me as a front to look like a stable family man while he siphoned the entire trust stipend, over $20,000 a month, into a secret offshore account. He was essentially using me as a free nanny and a source of income so he could build a multi-million-dollar nest egg for himself. I spent the next 21 days being the perfect wife. I hired a private investigator to track down Clara. I met with the Sterling Trust executors. I changed my will and moved my assets where David couldn't touch them. Then I organized a surprise anniversary party. I invited David's parents, my colleagues, and the executors of the trust. David thought it was just a celebration of our 8 years together. I have a special tribute for my husband, I said, stepping up to the microphone. The room went quiet. I projected a video onto the wall. It started with photos of us, then the music changed. David told me he was a widower, I said to the room. He told me these children were his. But I think David has been keeping some secrets. I showed the DNA results. I showed the birth certificates of the real father. I showed the offshore bank statements. David tried to grab the projector, but security stepped in his way. And David, I said, I have one more guest for you. The doors opened and Clara walked in. The children gasped. Leo, who remembered her the most, stood up and whispered, Mom. David was arrested that night for federal wire fraud and embezzlement. He's currently serving 7 years. Clara and I didn't fight. She was grateful I'd raised her children well. We worked with the trust to ensure she got a house nearby and we share custody. I'm still Auntie Elena to them. David thought I was just a paycheck with a maternal instinct. He forgot that architects are experts at seeing what's hidden behind the walls. He tried to build a house of lies on my land. So I tore it down. What do you think? Did I do the right thing by bringing the biological mother back? Comment justice if you're on my side. Don't forget to subscribe to Karma Unleashed. See you in the next one. And if you want to see more stories where karma always finds its way home, make sure to subscribe to Karma Unleashed. Always remember, the truth has a way of coming out, one blueprint at a time. All names and details in this story have been changed for privacy purposes.